Hey guys, it's Ornlu, and we are back with another preview video for the upcoming patch for AoE2 DE that will, I suppose, include the Three Kingdoms expansion. I did a whole breakdown video on it that's going to be up yesterday, so this video is going to be a little bit different. One of the most anticipated features of the upcoming patch is that every single civilization, all 50 of them, are going to be getting unique castle designs and unique skins for the elite versions of their unique units, as well as several civs getting their monasteries and monk skins changed around a little bit. So that's what this video is going to be all about, guys. I will go through every single one of these civilizations in AoE2 and show off their unique castle, unique unit, and monk and / monastery designs. So hope you guys will enjoy this one. It did take quite a while to make, so definitely leave a like if you are anticipating this and enjoying it. And of course, be subscribed to the channel for lots and lots of testing video for the actual gameplay of the new civs and the civs drastically changed by the patch. So with that in mind, we are going to be going in alphabetical order. I'm not going to do chapters on this video because 52 chapters on a video is kind of a lot. So we're just going to be going from Armenians all the way down to the Wu. So let's jump into it. Alrighty guys, so we will be starting here with the Armenians. Now, as a post-DE civ, they naturally already have their own castle, so they will be keeping that. And of course, their fortified church replaces their monastery, so that's going to be the same. But we still have a few new things to check out here, and that includes their composite bowman unique unit. You can see the existing version in the game is the Castle Age version of the unit, which is almost always going to be the case. And the new one is going to be the elite composite bowman, which has a fun little plume sticking out of its helmet. And it's got a shiny bow, and it's got a design with a lion here on the back of its cape. So really nice looking elite composite bowman. And for the monks, as an Eastern Orthodox civ, they will be getting the Eastern Orthodox monk that several of the new civs are going to be getting. So you can see it's got a hood and a Gandalf-looking beard, got a cool little staff, and what I assume here is going to be the Cyrillic alphabet on a parchment. So really like the design there, and that will be going alongside their warrior priest unique unit. So that is going to be all of the changes here for the Armenians. Next up is going to be the Aztecs, and indeed, they will be the ones to keep the classic Mesoamerican castle design. So that, I predicted it would be going to the Mayans, but honestly, with Mayans and Aztecs, their pyramids look so similar that it's kind of a toss-up. So Aztecs are the ones at the end who are going to be keeping that. Aztec monks and monastery are going to be the same, as you would imagine, but of course they still have their Jaguar Warrior unique unit, which is getting a huge buff in the upcoming patch. So here's the classic Jaguar Warrior that we've been playing with, but here is the new elite version, and check out the Obsidian Makana on that bad boy. That thing looks scary. It's got a big banner on its back, and it even has the Aztec emblem right here on its shield, so really cool looking elite Jaguar Warrior upgrade. And yeah, I imagine with all the buffs we're seeing to the unit that we will be seeing a lot of those guys going forward, but nevertheless that is still going to be the only change here to the Aztecs. Next is going to be the Bengalis, who are of course another post-DE civilization, so they already have their own castle. Monastery naturally going to be remaining the same as well, but as a civilization that was Buddhist throughout all of the AoE2 time period, or at least most of it, they will be getting the Buddhist-style monk that is going to be seen mostly with the East Asian civs, and they are going to be the only one of the Indian civs to actually get this Buddhist monk sort of design here, so that's going to be new for them. And then as far as their Rathas go, you can see the ones on the left here are the Castle Age Rathas, then the ones that we've been using up to this point, and these much fancier ones are going to be the Elite Ratha. And yes, I downloaded the HD texture pack just for this video for the first time ever, so we can see all the nice little details here on the Elite Ratha. Super intricate chariots. Got little fancier plumes on the horses. Yeah, really nice design there on the chariots themselves, and some fancy gold wheels and a gold hilt for the sword. So those are going to be the Elite Rathas that I'm sure we will be seeing a ton of in competitive play, and that is going to be the Bengalis. Our first new castle of the video is going to be the Berbers, and this is indeed going to be their castle. It looks really, really nice. You have the dome that is reminiscent of the Middle Eastern civs. You have this stone turret that is a bit more reminiscent of like the Iberian civs, and then the sort of like stone / mud brick style architecture that we see in North Africa, so kind of a combination of all the influences there on the Berbers. Really, really love the castle design. The gateway is also really nice looking, so definitely a fan of that. As for the unique units, honestly, the Elite Camel Archer here is one of, I think, the least distinct of the unique units, Believe it or not, these are two separate units here. You can see the armor is a little bit different. This is the regular one, and this is the elite one, in case that wasn't obvious. But yeah, elite camel archer still looks pretty similar, looks awesome. Everybody loves camel archers, man. Such a fun unit to play with, but their elite design is certainly none too distinct. Of course, they have another unique unit in the Genitor, and this is the Castle Age version that we've been playing with. And you can see that the elite version actually has a version of the Berber emblem on its shield with proper gravity-affecting little tassels here at the front, which is kind of cool. And it's got a fancy new helmet and chainmail relative to the Castle Age version, which is much less armored looking. So definitely you can tell which is the elite, fancier version of the Genitor. Also, the Berbers, as a civilization that is heavily Islamicized throughout the AoE2 timeframe, they will be getting the Imam monk variation, so all of the Islamic civilizations will have their own version of the monk, and that is going to be looking like this Imam here that's got a scroll that I assume has the Quran on it, and some, I don't know, fancy-looking beads on them. So those are going to be the changes here to the Berber civilization. Next up is going to be the Bohemians, and another post-DE civ, already with their own castle. Monks are going to be the same. I really do wish that Bohemians, Magyars, and Poles got their new monasteries, or new monasteries at all, because these are definitely Orthodox-inspired, and these are a Catholic civilization, or at the very least, Proto-Protestant. Hofnitsa are going to be exactly the same, so it's all going to be down to this new elite Hussite wagon design with chonkier wheels, steel framing on the wagon itself, and a nice little perch bench that you can sit on while you blast away at the enemy, so that's always a nice, thoughtful addition. But yeah, definitely you can tell which is the bit of the shinier elite version of the unit, and that is all we really have to talk about with the Bohemians. Now we go on to the classic civilization, the Britons, who I correctly predicted would be getting the classic Western European castle design. It is based off of a castle in Britain after all. Monastery situation is exactly the same, as are the monks, as is previously been the case with the Civ. What's going to be interesting, though, is the Longbowman unique unit, which actually has 2 unit models that are new, and I think this is the only unique unit that has that characteristic. So this is actually the Castle Age version, with the wider, flatter helmet going on, and what appears just to be cloth armor. But yeah, this is the Castle Age Longbowman, and the elite one has the chainmail on it, has the, I guess, fabric going across the front with the lion emblem on it. Also got a little bit of a shield at the back, which you can see right here. I think that's a shield anyway. And there you can tell that it is the elite version of the unit, and that is going to be all the changes we have for the Britons. Next up, we have the Bulgarians, and they are also getting a completely new castle design that we can see right here. The, I guess, shingles on the roof, but that is kind of reddish, is certainly reminiscent of like Eastern and Southeastern Europe. You've got the gray bricks here that feel pretty Eastern European as well. Really like the design of this. It feels like we are in the southeastern corner of Europe, and that is going to be where you are going to be training your Konaks and trebuchets and whatnot and all that good stuff. Also, I think that's the Konik shield right there, another indication that it is a Bulgarian castle. Speaking of the Konik, the unit does have 2 models. This is the existing Konik model for the mounted and the dismounted version right here, and this is going to be the elite version, and man, oh man, is that a cool-looking plume. This is a unit that shows confidence and grace and class that would be required to pull off such a goofy-looking plume on its head. Also, it's got some more gold trimming on the horse's armor. Pro tip, guys, most of the elite unit variations look a lot like the Castle Age version, but with gold trimming. I'll be saying that a lot in this video. Anyway, the dismounted version, of course, is going to be looking very similar, just, you know, without the horse, and that is going to be the Konik. Also, as an Eastern Orthodox Civ, they are getting the Eastern Orthodox monks, so that is going to be another addition to the Civ, alongside keeping, of course, the classic Eastern Orthodox monastery. Kreposts are going to be looking exactly the same as before, and those are going to be the changes to the Bulgarians. Moving right along now to the Burgundians, another post-DE Civ. Flemish Revolution militia are going to be the same, monastery and monks are the same, and so the only change is going to come in the form of the Coustelier unique unit, which, guess what? Gold trimming and more armor for the elite variation. It certainly is pretty distinct from the Castle Age version, just a lot fancier and better armored looking, even though the units have the exact same armor between regular and elite. But that is neither here nor there. This is just going to be the elite version of the Coustelier. And that is really all we have to talk about here with the Burgundians. Now we have the Burmese, and they do indeed have a brand new castle that was revealed in the promotional image that we saw earlier, and a lot of people guessed that it would be for the Burmese, including myself, and that is because this top here to the turret in this castle is very reminiscent of the Burmese Wonder, and looks a lot like a stupa. So that looks really nice, and you also have these sort of Southeast Asian thatched roof awnings, for lack of a better word, on the castle, so that is certainly reminiscent of that part of the world, and that castle will naturally be training your Arambai. And here you have the Castle Age version that we've all been playing with, and here is the Elite version with a lot more intricate trimmings here on the horse. It also has the same helmet that Bayanong wears as the Elephant Rider in the campaign, which I like a lot. Again, a nice little nod to that Burmese-looking thing. Got some cool little tassels here on the horse as well, and the unit itself in general looks better armored. Monastery situation, you have the Buddhist monks. Of course, it makes sense for the Burmese. Monastery are going to be looking exactly the same, though, so those are going to be the changes here for the Burmese civilization. All right, next is going to be one of the most anticipated new castles, and that is going to be for the Byzantines, with the Theodosian walls here at the edges of the castle, which is one of the giveaways for a lot of people, as well as the Byzantine-style shields and swords, I suppose, over here, and the, I guess, Southeastern European-style roof right there. Definitely a really cool-looking castle, nice and tanky for the Byzantine civilization. But on top of that, they also get a brand new monastery, which is shared between some of the, I guess, more ancient-y medieval Mediterranean civs, which we'll get to later on. But that is going to be the new monastery for the Byzantine civilization. Looks super nice, and not having a Latin-style church makes plenty of sense for one of the primo Orthodox civs, and that, of course, is going to extend to their monks as well, getting that new Eastern Orthodox style model here for the unit. Looks super nice, as with the other civs. But of course, we cannot forget the Cataphract, and here we are with the new Cataphract model. This is the Castle Age version that we have been using, and this is the Elite version. Honestly, it does look pretty similar. It's got more checkers, I think, on its chainmail. Got like a little cape going on here. And shield is, I guess, pretty similar as well. Just a little bit more gold trimming, but it is certainly one of the more subtle variations between regular and elite. But still, it's got more gold, and you gotta crush all of those hordes of infantry with as much style as possible. Another classic civ here, we have the Celts, who will be getting their own castle here for the first time. Looks like a lot of, more rugged Scottish castles from the later Middle Ages. Got these sort of distinct step-looking like edges here on the roofs, and got the drawbridge and the ivy covering it. Looks a little bit like the Rock of Cashel Wonder, so it's certainly very Celtic-looking as far as that goes. And they will be training your Woad Raiders. Who cares how anachronistic they are, because they are awesome. Here is the Castle Age version, and here is the Elite version with a little bit stronger-looking shield. Still has an axe, but it also has, I think, a breastplate? It's a little hard to tell. But yeah, they got lots of hair and a big axe, and they will be pajama-ing their way to victory as they destroy the enemy's base. So that is going to be the Elite version of the Woad Raider, their unique castle for the Celts, and the monk situation is going to be exactly the same as in, the rest of AoE's history. So there you have the Celts. Of course, one of the most changed civilizations of the upcoming expansion is the Chinese, and they are going to be getting their own unique castle. You can tell you still have those sort of East Asian-style slanted roofs with the shingles all looking like that, but it also, unlike the Japanese castle, has a lot more stonework, as opposed to the Japanese castle, which is more wooden. So you can already tell that there is a little bit of a difference between the two castles. But other than that, still looks very East Asian and sort of, Chinese, so to say. When it comes to the unique unit, the Chuko Nu, you can see here the regular and the Elite version. The Elite version just having a little bit fancier armor going on with it. Looks really nice, though. And yeah, the Chuko Nu just going to be showing off a little bit more bling. They are getting the East Asian Buddhist-style monks, so that is going to be actually shared between all of the Chinese area civs. Well, we'll see. We'll see going forward. But that is still going to be a thing here for the Chinese. And just in the scenario editor here, I threw in some of the regional units that the civs have, just as a little bit more of a showcase. So we have the rocket carts here, regular and elite, as well as the fire lancers, again, regular and elite. Chinese have a lot coming in store for them in the upcoming patch, and I can't wait to test them all out. But as far as the aesthetics go, this is the Chinese. Another civ with a new castle will be the Cumans, and they are going from the Central Asian castle to this cool guy, which looks sort of like a, Eastern European to Central Asian castle that was taken over by the Cumans, who then built their own sort of Russian-ish style wooden fort, I guess, toppings to the castle, for lack of a better word. So that looks really cool and sort of gels with the more nomadic identity of the Cumans. Monastery, again, as a nomadic civilization, they are getting their own new monastery, which is actually just the shrine model from single player before, and this is going to be shared across a lot of civilizations. And they're going to be also getting their own more shaman-looking monks to accompany the shrine, which also looks super cool and feel appropriate, again, for one of the most nomadic civilizations in the entire game. Love that design, and that ends up here with the Elite Kipchak, which looks super cool relative to the Castle Age version. It's got a hat. Hats are already automatically awesome. Got some more fancy, I guess, leatherwork here on the front of the horse. And in general, the unit looks more armored and more fancy. So yeah, really big fan of the design changes here for the Cuman civilization, and this is all what they are going to be looking like. Next, we have the Dravidians, and their castle is a classic one, but it actually is perhaps more classic than you think, because this is the original Indian castle that was added, I think, during HD, because Indians, the civilization Indians, started actually with the Middle Eastern architecture set, and only later got their own South Asian architecture set, which they alone had for a very long time. Eventually, with Dynasties of India, Indians themselves were split across the, 4 South Asian civs, and the classic castle was given to the Dravidians, where it remains today. So, a lot of history with this little castle architecture. Monastery is based off of a Hindu temple, so that is naturally going to be the same here for the Dravidians, and this is going to be our first representative of the new Hindu monks, which looks super awesome. They have like these little trident things going for them, and it looks like a pot, or a jug, or a vessel of some kind that they're carrying. So pretty cool looking monks here, and this is shared between the few Hindu civilizations we have in the game. So that's going to be the monks there for the Dravidians, and check out the Arumi here. You have the Virgin Castle Age Arumi versus the Chad Elite Arumi. You still never see this unit anyway, but even so, look at this many-thonged whip Arumi sword thing. That's like, what, 3 different endings for the Arumi sword itself. He's got like a hat. Again, hats are automatically awesome. He's got a little bit more armor here at the front. And this is definitely a fancier-looking Arumi swordsman that will still see zero play until it's actually buffed a bit more. But even so, this is going to be the changes to the Dravidians. Definitely a big fan of all of these designs. Now we have one of the most changed civilizations of the upcoming patch, and that is the Ethiopians, who are getting a new castle. You can see right here, it has that sort of chiseled out of rock theme to it, I suppose, that is shared with their rock churches. So that's really a nice bit of consistent design as far as that goes. On the castle as well, you have the turrets with the domes, which are again reminiscent of the Middle East. And you have some of the Ethiopian emblems on the shields here, hanging around the castle, which of course is going to invoke thoughts of the Ethiopians. Duh. So, like the castle design, but of course the new Ethiopian rock church just looks awesome. Super distinct here with its cross pattern, crosses all over the place, and that is also going to accompany unique monks, which are shared between them and the Malians. So we actually have dark-skinned monks for the sub-Saharan African civilizations. They look super cool. Looks like they're holding a feather of some kind and a staff. Yeah, really nice-looking monks. And as far as the Shotel Warrior unique unit goes, they are going to be one of the few unique units whose existing design is used for the elite version. So this is the classic Shotel Warrior. It has the Ethiopian shield on its back. And this is the elite version, whereas we have a new Castle Age version to the unit, which is clearly less armored. It's just wearing some cloth as opposed to armor. And kind of like the Genitor, right? You have the elite version that's armored, and the Castle Age version, which is just wearing, some more loose-fitting, less armored cloth. So big fan of all these changes, and this is what is going to be in store for the Ethiopian civilization. Then we are going to have a fan favorite for sure, and that is going to be the Franks with their brand new chateau design. certainly very reminiscent of the castles that you see up and down France, all plastered over media throughout the years following. You also have the fleur-de-lis on these banners on the side of the castle in case it wasn't French enough for your taste. But it is pretty interesting because you have this sort of very late Middle Ages castle design here for the Franks that train your very early Middle Ages throwing axemen. So, of course, the Franks unique unit here, this is the Castle Age Classic version, and this is the new elite version of the unit, which looks really, really cool in my opinion. It has the fancier armor, it's got a plume on its helmet, got a bit more gold design, and it's got like a cape thing going on at the back. We still see throwing axemen far too rarely for my taste, for being a very fun unit. But yeah, the elite version of, or the model for the elite version of this unit absolutely looks sick. As far as the monastery goes, again, Western European monastery, classic Catholic-based monks, because the original monk design is indeed based off of the Catholic monk. So that certainly is going to be staying the same here for the Franks for the rest of the Middle Ages. And that is just going to be the major changes to the Franks' aesthetics here going forward. Next is going to be the Goths, who have what appears to be more of a Southern European fort style going on here. The, I guess, orangish shingles on the roof still fits in nicely, though, with the Central European architecture set, so I think that works out quite nicely. The fort is kind of Roman-ish looking from my uneducated viewpoint. So I still think that looks quite nice, and you have the Gothic emblem with the eagle here on the shield over the door and hanging out on a banner here on the top floor. So still definitely evoking that idea of the Goths and their iconography. Looks super nice and a great place to start spamming your Huscarl unique unit, which is seen right here. Again, classic design for the Castle Age, and the elite version, lots of gold trimming. Got even a little bit of gold trimming on the shield, and overall it just looks like a fancier version of the unit. Nothing wrong with that, and of course we will be seeing many, many, many of them marching, or I guess more appropriately, waddling their way into the enemy base. I seriously don't know why this unit waddles so oddly back and forth, but it's endearing. You gotta love it. Anyway, monk situation, I guess they converted to Catholicism enough to get the classic monk design, as well as, of course, the regular Central European monastery set. So that is going to be the changes there for the Goth civilization. Moving on now to the Georgians. They are, of course, going to be a post-DE civ that already have their own unique castle, as well as the fortified church unique building, so that's obviously all going to still be the same, but they are an Orthodox civ, and indeed will be getting the Orthodox monks to accompany that properly, so both Armenians and Georgians are going to be getting, again, the Eastern European monks. And as far as the Monaspa unique unit goes, it's very similar to the Castle Age version, it just has some gold trimming here and there, which means I will not have any sympathy for it, as that is completely overrunning its space because this unit is imbalanced Kappa. But yeah, that is just going to be the changes there to the Monaspa and the new monk design. More minor changes here for the Georgians. They already have a lot of new, unique and interesting architecture. Gurjaras are going to be next, another post-DE civilization that already have actually one of my favorite castle designs. It looks really, really nice, but they actually have a couple of unique units. First here with the Chakram Thrower, you can see it's got a longer dress, for lack of a better word, here for the elite version. Also kind of a turban thing going on here, as well as a hat instead of a hat. The chakrams themselves are also kind of golden looking. And you can see it's got rings all over itself. Look at all of the rings here on the Chakram Thrower. Definitely a very nice looking elite upgrade for the unit. But of course we also have the Shravamsha Rider, who the Castle Age version we've been using in the past, versus the elite version, which appears to no longer be shirtless and actually wears a little bit of armor, so that certainly looks proper for an elite version of the unit. The horse also has some more intricate trimmings on it as well, but very clearly regular Castle Age version and the elite version. Monastery, again, it is a Hindu monastery. Got the Hindu monks here as well. That is, of course, going to be the religion for the Gurjaras for the most part, and that is going to be what they're going to be going with going forward, with, of course, the very best monk voice lines. Anyway, that is going to be the designs here for the Gurjaras. Right next door to them is going to be the Hindustanis, who are, of course, the successors to the Indian civilization that was added with the Forgotten. But with Dynasties of India and their castle going to the Dravidians, Hindustanis got their own unique castle from that expansion already, so this castle's been in the game for a while. They also still have the Hindu monastery design, but interestingly, they are getting imams as their monk skin variation. So Hindustanis, I mean, you had a lot of sort of Muslim rulers from Central Asia and Western Asia, and the populace being mostly Hindu, but also got Islamicized in large parts over time. So you could reasonably go with either the Imam or the Hindu monk. I think both would have been perfectly acceptable, but I wonder if this choice was also inspired by Babur, the Hindustani campaign, himself being a Muslim. So interesting decision there, but certainly one that I don't think should be very controversial. And then, of course, we have the Ghulam here, which is very similar between Castle and Imperial Age. The Imperial Age one's armor seems to be a bit shinier. I think their helmet's a bit larger. Their shield's a little bit shinier, but yeah, I mean, the two units look very, very similar. Again, one of the more subtle distinctions between Castle and Imperial Age, and the Imp Camel, of course, already has its unique design, so that's not being changed at all. Actually, although originally the Imperial Camel had like these big flowing dresses on the camels, but that was changed, I think, I don't even remember when. It was either from the transition, I think it was the transition from the Forgotten Mod to HD, that Imp Camels got this more modern design that we see on them today. But yeah, those are going to be the changes here to the Hindustanis. Oh boy, this is one of my favorites, guys. This is the Huns. And look at this castle. It is so perfectly Hunnic. You have what appears to be a Roman fort of some kind that has been destroyed and has this large wooden structure built up on top of it instead. Kind of like the Cumans, but this castle looks kind of destroyed in the process with a lot of this more hastily thrown on additions to the side. Yeah, I love it. It looks so Hunnic. You even have the horse banners here and here for the Huns. That is just like, in case this wasn't an obviously Hunnic castle enough for you, you have those little additions on it, which I like the detail with. The Tarkin, I mean, look at this elite Tarkin, guys. It has a freaking horned helmets like it's a fake Viking. It obviously also looks a little bit more armored, which is nice. But yeah, certainly one of the, I would say, relatively distinct elite unique unit designs. Got this extra, I don't even know what this is called, thing here at the front for the horse. Unfortunately, we still don't have the Tarkin Thump from AOC, so that makes me very sad, but other than that, this unit is perfect. Also, again, as a nomadic civilization that was definitely not Christian, we have the shrine here that is shared across a lot of those nomadic civs with the shamans here. But yeah, absolutely love the design of all of this, and again, it makes Huns feel that much more like the nomadic raiders that they were. Another one of my favorite changes here are going to be the Incas, and since their architecture set was just completely off, right? They had to use the Central American architecture set even though they're all the way down in the Andes, and now they actually get their own unique castle design, which is definitely Andean with the thatched roofs and the stonework here. That definitely evokes thoughts of Machu Picchu and Cusco and all that cool stuff. You also have sort of the terraced grass areas, again, that is what comes to at least my mind when I think of Incan architecture. So a really big fan of this castle. It also has a Kamiuk spear leaning against it, which also looks super nice. Monastery is the same, though. I think it would be nice if Incas got their own monastery to sort of go alongside their own castle. And you still have the Central American monks as well. So that is all going to be exactly the same as previously. As for the unique units, the slingers, they have no elite upgrade. It's just slingers. So they're going to be exactly the same. Although I can point out that this is actually the Inca emblem in-game, if you never noticed that. That's actually on the shield here of the slingers. Nice little touch there. But as far as the Kamiuk goes, you can see this is the regular version. This is the elite version. You can see that the elite version has more plumes going on with it on the helmet. Got like this big gold medallion thing on its chest and a longer and more intricate dress. Yeah, definitely a really snazzy looking elite unit. It also has this cape going on with it, which is great. I mean, capes and hats are objectively the coolest way to make a unit, and that is certainly going to be the elite Kamiuk right here. Again, really, really big fan of all of these design changes. Helps make the Incas feel that much more distinct. Moving along now, we have the Italians, who I correctly predicted would be getting the existing Southern European castle set, which makes sense as it is based off of an Italian castle. So certainly no problems there with this civ keeping that, but that's still going to be the same as always. As far as the monks go, this is going to be our first cardinal monks, which of course look great here for the Italians and the papacy and all that stuff in the Middle Ages. So yeah, they look really sick and appropriate for the civilization. Monastery naturally going to be the same as well. And as far as their unique units go, the condos, again, it's just one condo, so that's going to be the same. But the Genoese crossbowman, you can see here, has the Italian logo inverted on it, the shield for the regular Genoese crossbowman, whereas the elite Genoese crossbowman actually has a squarer looking shield, as well as a lot more armor, and even a helmet with a visor on it, as opposed to, like, I don't know, this helmet that looks like a hat. So yeah, new monks and a new elite design for the Genoese crossbowmen here for the Italians. Another classic castle design that I guessed correctly, we have the Japanese here, keeping the classic East Asian castle, which makes plenty of sense given that it's based off of the Osaka castle. And as far as the samurai goes, you have already seen this in the preview image, but it looks awesome. You can see the elite samurai has the more intricate looking armor that's shinier, much heavier looking as well, and of course you've got the cool banner that's going to be on its back, and it's going to be really fun to see a lot of these as the samurai charge into battle. Monks, of course, they are going to be getting that East Asian Buddhist-style monk. Makes plenty of sense here for the Japanese that they would be getting that, so a nice new little monk design to go alongside their new elite unique unit. But that's all we're going to have here for the Japanese. Next, we're going to have our first new civilization. We have the Jurchens. You can see this castle was shown in some of the promo images, and a lot of people guessed that it would be for the Jurchens, and indeed it is. Looks super nice. It's got the strong, fortified look to it, more of a defensive frontier look to it than, say, the Chinese castle, but still, of course, having that Chinese-style architecture here on the roofs. What's cool, though, is you still have the nomadic roots here of the Jurchens, as they are actually getting the nomadic shrines as their monasteries, and the shamans for monks, instead of the, East Asian monastery and the Buddhist monks. So that's going to be a nice little touch for the civilization. And of course, you have your Iron Pagoda unique unit, which I covered in the video yesterday. Here is the regular version. Here's the elite version. The elite version has 2 feathers on the horse. The regular version only has 1. Clearly, the elite version is far superior in every single way. Also, it's got a plume on its helmet. Although the Castle Age version is the one that has the Jurchen emblem on it, which is kind of interesting, as the elite one has something different. Also, you have the rocket carts here, a regional unit available to the civilization, as well as the Fire Lancer. Just again, threw those in because why not? So that is going to be the designs here for the Jurchens. Next, we have the sister civilization of the Jurchens, and that is going to be the Khitans, the other Middle Ages Chinese civ from the upcoming expansion. This castle was seen before in some of the promotional imagery. It is based off of a castle in western China with these distinct little stupa-looking things on the side of it. I did predict that this would be for the Tonguts, but as we've seen a little bit, and what I might talk about more going forward, is that the design of the Khitans was in part based off of the Tonguts, so it's kind of like a little bit of a hybrid civ between the two. But yeah, definitely a big fan of that castle. Again, it has like this more frontier look of the big strong stone walls protecting the much more Chinese-looking central area. The Lao Dao is their unique unit, and you can see the Castle Age version here and the Elite version here. This unit looks freaking awesome with its gigantic sword. The Elite one has the gold armor and the cooler hat. And these are the guys that do that damage over time. So yeah, really cool-looking unit here for the Khitans. They also have their mounted trebuchet with the camel treb, which is, of course, super goofy-looking, but who can't love a camel treb? And then the regional units here of the rocket cart and the fire lancer again. Also, they have a unique building in the pasture, so that is going to be the basic design here for the honorless Karakitai. Oh, whoops, yeah, also the monastery, again, reflecting their nomadic roots. We're getting the shrine with the shamans, so that is going to be the same as the Jurchens, as well as the Mongols that we'll see in a little bit. Next up is going to be the Khmer, who I correctly predicted would be keeping the classic Southeast Asian style castle, as it is based in part off of Angkor Wat, so naturally makes sense for the Khmer to be keeping that as their castle. As far as the ballista elephant goes, like the Ethiopians, the in-game ballista elephant actually reflects the elite version of the unit as opposed to the Castle Age version, which is actually a new design completely. So you can tell by the hat. For the 1,000 food that is required for the elite ballista elephant upgrade, clearly all of it goes into giving the elephant the hat. The hat is essential. So yeah, that's going to be the design there of the elite ballista elephant that is going to be classic from the game, with the more simple looking Castle Age version right here. As for the monastery, you have the regular Southeast Asian monastery, but you actually have the Hindu monks here because the Khmer were a Hindu empire. So that's a nice little touch here, so that even though, say, like Dravidians and Gurjaras have the same Hindu monks, but they have the different monasteries, so you can see that the monks are being assigned independent of the monasteries based off of what would make the most sense for a given civilization, which is honestly a nice touch by the devs. But other than that, that is all we have here for the Khmer. Next, we have one of my very favorite civilizations. It is going to be the Koreans, whose castle was shown in the preview image. Big stone structure here with the East Asian style roofs here. It does make a lot of sense based off of the castles that I saw when I was in Korea, so I personally do enjoy that touch. But check this out, guys. The war wagon, Castle Age one that we've always had, but look at this elite war wagon. It's a freaking turtle ship wagon, guys. It's got the same hexagons and iron spikes, and the banner here at the back, just like the turtle ship, and it's got the fancy design on the horses. I mean, talk about a glow up between the regular and the elite version of the war wagon. I don't care at all that this unit is fake. It looks awesome. I am not going to argue with it. Monks naturally going to be given the Buddhist-style East Asian monks. Makes plenty of sense here for the Koreans, not much to talk about there. They are another civilization that are going to be getting the rocket carts and the fire lancers. And then we have, lastly, the turtle ship unique unit, as yes, even the naval unique units get unique skins. You can see here, existing turtle ship, the elite turtle ship. The only difference is that the elite one has these interspersed golden hexes, for lack of a better word. But other than that, it's a pretty subtle difference between the regular and the elite versions of the turtle ships. That said, I personally love these changes to the Koreans and think they make the Civ look even more awesome. Now we have the Lithuanians, who are going to be getting their own unique castle right here, and you can tell it is Lithuanian because it has the their emblem here on the door, on the shield, also the latest shield right here, and what appears to be the Lithuanian emblem here on a banner. Also, they have like these shutters that have the stripes on it. That's kind of interesting. I didn't even notice that my first go around. But other than that, definitely nice looking there Lithuanian castle that you will use to train your latest unique unit that is very fun and balanced to play against. Here is the Castle Age version with the Lithuanian emblem on their shield. You can see the elite version. What actually, I don't know, maybe someone can tell me in the comments what this is, but this looks like an Eastern Orthodox cross. But the Lithuanians were Catholic, so, or pagan into Catholic. I'm not too sure what that's all about. But clearly the horse is better armored, still have that cape going with it, a bit more complete of a helmet there as well, so definitely a cool looking version of the elite Latus. Monastery and monks are going to be the same. I was wondering if maybe Lithuanians would be getting the pagan shrine that's like a big tree from the campaigns, but no. Looks like they are going to be keeping the regular monastery, as perhaps it would look a little bit silly to garrison relics inside of a tree. But yeah, that's all there really is to talk about here with the Lithuanians. A little bit further south, we have the Magyars, who are getting their own unique castle. I thought they would be keeping the existing Eastern European castle, but nope. They are getting a brand new one that has this very interesting looking white stone around the sides. You got the wooden cross beams on these sticky out areas, which is the technical term, of course. So that is certainly pretty notable. But other than that, looks like a nice castle here. Monastery and monks are exactly the same. Again, I kind of wish they had a Catholic monastery or Catholic-y looking monastery alongside Bohemians and Poles. But no, maybe that will be in a future patch. So all that leaves for us to talk about is the Magyar Hussar, whose elite version, again, basically just a little bit fancier looking armor, a little bit larger of a helmet by the looks of things. Other than that, the units look very, very similar. Even their capes are very similar. So that is really all we have to cover here for the Magyars. Moving now to another one of my favorites, we have the Malay, and their castle just looks awesome. It's got the stone, I guess, foundation here that you would expect from a fortress, as well as the Malay shield here over the entry, but it also has that Javanese, like, steep, swooping, thatched roof sort of thing that you see a lot in sort of the more traditional buildings over there in Indonesia. So yeah, I think this looks super cool. A very Malay castle right there, but still looks like a strong fortification and not like too flimsy. Same Southeast Asian style monastery for the civilization. Interestingly, they were given the Buddhist monk. With the Malay, depending on the time period, they could be Buddhist or they could be Hindu, so you could reasonably go with one or the other. They chose to go with the Buddhist style monk. That is totally fine by me. But it's still an interesting distinction and something new that the Civ is going to be getting. Berbers are the same, of course, so that just leaves the Karambit warrior, and you can see here, this is the existing Karambit, and this is the new elite Karambit. They have these awesome-looking helmets, they have this full armor setup going all the way down to their legs, whereas the Castle Age Karambits just kind of had those short little skirts going on with them and no shirt at all. But these units look much, much stronger and better armored, so this is definitely one of my favorite elite unique unit designs. So alongside the castle, I am certainly a big fan of these changes here to the Malay. As I predicted, the sub-Saharan African castle will be going to the Malians, and indeed, that is going to be staying the same here. Makes sense, as really all of the sub-Saharan architecture set was based off of Malian architecture. Even the monastery here, which is now just unique to the Malians, because Ethiopians got their own one, it's based off of the mosque in Jenne, so naturally, one of the most important cities of the Malay Empire, having a monastery based off of it, it makes tons of sense that Malians would still be keeping that. Also, it looks really nice anyway. Like Ethiopians, they are actually getting the dark-skinned monks, which is certainly nice for them. Got their feather and staff that they're holding. So even though the in-game Ethiopians are Christian and the in-game Malians are Muslim, they still have their own sort of, I guess, native traditions mixed into those religions here that is reflected by these monks. Then we have the Gebetto unique unit, again, existing version from the game, and this is the new elite version with her shiny bald head and spiky necklace, fancy looking dress there. Definitely a very cool looking unit here. Still have the Kapingas that they toss around, of course, and that is going to be the elite design here for the Gebetto, and really all the changes we have here to the Malian civilization. Now we move on to the Mayans, who I thought would be keeping the existing Central American castle. Nope, they are getting a new one, but it does still look pretty similar. Mayans and Aztecs, they had tiered pyramids, and yeah, this is just going to be a different variation of that. But you also have the steps that are going up on multiple sides. I love the top area. It looks, again, it's very, like, a lot of fine detail on it, which I'm a big fan of. So that is going to be the Mayan castle. Also, as far as their unique unit goes, like the Khmer and the Ethiopians, the old plumed archer from the game is actually the elite version, and they added a new castle version, which does not have as fancy of plumage, doesn't have any armor, and is just without a shirt whatsoever. So you can clearly see that the elite plumed archer has more plume per archer, looks a little bit fancier. Certainly nothing wrong with that. And of course, like the Aztecs, their monks and monastery are going to be exactly the same as before. So that's all the changes really we have here to talk about with the Mayans. Now we go to my favorite civilization. It is the Mongols, whose castle was shown in the preview, although I'm pretty sure it didn't have these Mongol banners on it, otherwise it would have been a complete dead giveaway. But yeah, obviously you got the Mongol banners here. It has that more sturdy stone fort looking thing to it that indicates that this is a castle for practicality, not a palace. It certainly looks very nice and is a great place to be spawning your Mangudai, which are seen right here. It's one of the more subtle regular to elite variations. You can see that the elite one has more medallions around its shoulder area. The horse has a little bit more going on with some more tassels. Also has like these rings around its tail. Still not the craziest difference between regular and elite, but how much can you really improve on perfection that is the Mangudai? But on top of that, of course, as you would expect, nomadic civilization. You got the shrine there, you got the shamanistic monks. That is pretty much exactly as you would expect, and that is all we really have to talk about here for the Mongols. Okay, next is going to be the BFFs of the Mongols, the Persians, who are getting their own distinct castle here. Got the big round turret here at the top. You also have these, for lack of a better word, Persian-looking designs here along the side, which I'm a really big fan of. You've got the Persian rugs here at the top, which of course are great. But other than that, it's just a big old strong-looking castle from Western Asia. Monastery going to be exactly the same, and notably, they are going to be using the imams, as Persia was still Islamic for the majority of the Middle Ages. Even though the Persians themselves in-game are kind of mostly based off of the Sassanids, it's complicated. For a lot of AoE2, Persians were a civilization without a direct empire. Savars are awesome, and they are going to be the same as always, but of course, the star of the show is the War Elephant, whose elite version is decked out in gold bling. It's got frickin' golden tusks, man. What could you possibly argue against golden tusks? Also, it's got the Sassanid emblem right here. You can see the, I think it's an eagle? Don't know exactly what it is, but it certainly looks cool, and is fitting here for the Persian unique unit, so certainly big fan of that. Who doesn't love the big chonky war elephant boys? And that is going to be the Persians. Moving on now to the Poles, another post-DE civilization, so they already have their own castle. I'll say it for the last time, I wish they had a more Catholic-looking monastery. Monks are still going to be Western European or Central European style monks, so that's at least fine. So all that leaves for us to talk about is the Obuk unique unit, whose elite version actually has a helmet, so it does not look like Balin, son of Fundin, with a red hood here. And it also has proper matching pants, and even some steel greaves to help protect those shins, baby. But most important of all, it has a golden hammer. So not only are you getting your armor stripped, but you're getting your armor stripped by a man with pure bling. That's gonna be somewhat embarrassing of a way to go right there. So that's really all there is to talk about here for the Poles. Moving now to another one of those castles that was shown in the preview images. A lot of people guessed it was the Portuguese, myself included, and that is exactly going to be the case. It's very reminiscent of the Portuguese wonder, but its bright white stonework is certainly going to be memorable for the civilization. Feuderias are still there and the same, monasteries are the same, and they will be getting the cardinals here for maximum Inquisition fun. Even though that upgrade is for the Spanish, and also the actual Inquisition was a not fun experience at all. Regardless, that is still going to be here for the Portuguese, and those guys look awesome. The organ gun unique unit, Castle Age version that we've been using. Elite version has double the organs for more organ-based organ gunning, and even has some nice poofy shoulder pads for the organ gun pusher. That's really going to be all the major differences here between the Castle and Imperial Age organ guns. I guess the pants are poofier too. Still, Portuguese have their Caravel, whose regular and elite versions are differentiated mostly by the gold trimming here on the elite Caravel, as well as the player color-based trimmings on the sails. So it's pretty subtle, but still going to be noticeable here between the regular and elite versions of the Caravel. So several units here getting changed for the Portuguese, as well as their castle, and they all definitely look quite nice. Moving on now to the Romans, they are another post-DE civ, already have their own fort castle-looking thing. The Centurions, I'm pretty sure this version of the Centurion was already in the game, in like the scenario editor, but now it's just going to be the elite version of the unit, and it looks basically the exact same as the Castle Age version, but, you know, gold instead of silver. They also get the Byzantine-style monastery, interestingly, but of course with the Western European-style monks. So that's going to be another point of distinction there between the Romans and the Byzantines, but other than that, you still have your legionaries, and the Romans are still going to remain, as always, the Romans. As I predicted, our next civilization, the Saracens, will be getting the classic Middle Eastern castle, as it is based off of Saladin's citadel in Cairo. Certainly very fitting for the original Middle Eastern AoE2 campaign. You've got the elite Mamluk here, which has even more blankets and stuff hanging out on the back of its camel. Also has a different looking headdress and white trimming there on its outfit. So who doesn't love Mamelukes? I don't care how unrealistic they are. They are awesome. They're fun to play with. Gotta love them. And of course, as like the Islamic civilization in AoE2, they will of course be getting imams as their monk skin. So those are going to be only the minor changes there associated with the Saracen civilization. Now we move on to another new civilization, and the first of our three kingdoms. We have the Shu. So this is the one of the kingdoms, or the kingdom from southwestern China in like Sichuan province. And this is going to be their castle. I don't think it was shown in any promo images, but I do like how the Three Kingdoms era castles look more like forts than like castles. And this is certainly no exception here. Big gates at the front. It looks, you know, less gigantic and grandiose and more of a, okay, here's just a position that we fortified. As far as the unique units go, we have the White Feather Guard here, castle version that I've shown already, and here's the elite version, gold trimming, plumes on the helmet, and a big fancy spear. Certainly not going to argue against it being an interesting looking unit. Beyond that, all of the Three Kingdom civs have the East Asian monasteries and the Buddhist-style monks, so that is just going to be something that we can keep consistent. We have Liu Bei here, our hero unit with his awesome double swords, the Heguang cavalry, regular and elite, which is the regional unit, same with this traction trebuchet. So that is going to be the Shu kingdom of our Three Kingdoms. It's also sometimes called Shu Han, for those who might not remember it as just the Shu. All right, next is going to be the Sicilians, and they are also going to be getting that Roman-style monastery, but with the Western European monk there, just like the Roman civilization themselves. Donjons are still there, and they are still unique. Sicilians obviously already had their own castle. And you can see here the sergeant. All of the sergeants will be looking like this until you research the elite upgrade. This is the classic existing in-game sergeant. And here is the elite version, and you can see that instead of the Sicilian emblem on it, it has this cool dragon on the shield, so who's going to argue with that? Also, instead of leather armor for most of the body, it's got chainmail armor, and just sort of this longer, flowy garb. It's got like this, not a cape, but it's got the little cloth area here at the neck. The mask is even cooler looking, so even if Sicilians aren't very popular, you can't say that the Sergeant isn't a pretty darn awesome unit. And that is going to be the Sicilians in a nutshell. Moving now to the last full scenario I had to create to show off these castles, we have the Slavs, who will actually be the ones to inherit the classic Eastern European castle, which is the only one I was kind of surprised by, because this doesn't really look like a Russian or Ukrainian or Belarusian castle. It's much more based off of one in modern-day Poland, which I suppose is still more Slavic than the Magyars. That said, regardless of the reason, they will be keeping the classic castle. Of course, as one of the prime Orthodox civs, they will be getting the Orthodox-style monks that are even extra speedy thanks to a Slav bonus. That is going to be all fine and dandy for them. And as far as the boyars go, here is the classic boyar, and here is the new one that has a freaking cape on it. Again, who doesn't love capes? Also more gold trimming on the unit, but still is going to be defined by that gigantic axe that they swing around. Also, the helmet looks, I think, a little bit different for the elite version. Maybe it has a mask too. It's a little hard to see, even with the HD skins. Still, that is all there is going to be for the Slav civilization. Now we go to a classic civ, and that is going to be the Spanish, who have their own castle now finally. They started with the Western European castles, then they got the Southern European castles, and now they finally get the Spanish castle. And you can see that it's got sort of that lighter stone style that we see in a lot of castles from Spain. You still have the Southern European shingles here in this hallway, which I definitely think is a nice touch and draws it into the rest of its architecture set. And this certainly is a castle that looks like you could host a Red Bull at. Monks, of course, Spanish are going to have the cardinals for your proper inquisitioning. Missionaries are going to be exactly the same as they're, well, just missionaries. And then you have your conquistadors, classic conquistador as the Castle Age version, and here is the elite version with a poofier shoulder, a feather in its helmet, and is looking ready to slay, both literally and figuratively, as the kids say these days. Very clear which is the castle and which is the elite version of the unit. Just a bit fancier armor with that gold trimming. Makes plenty of sense. The Spanish castle looks super awesome, and that is going to be this civilization done. The last castle, which I also correctly predicted, is going to be the Tatars, who are now the sole owners of the Central Asian castle, which, again, all of the Central Asian architecture set is based off of Timurid architecture, which the Tatars represent, so that was kind of a no-brainer. But, of course, that castle has always been a favorite with the very distinct blue sky domes. Monastery is also now solely unique to the Tatars because Cumans have the shrine, and as an Islamic civ, they are going to be getting their imams. You could have gone with the shrine for the Tatars, or you could have gone with the monks, I guess, the imams. But I guess especially since they have this whole monastery set up for the Timurids, you want to keep that and would be displaying them with the imams that they evolved to, as opposed to the their origins with the shamans and the shrines. As for their unique unit, of course, we have the Keshik here, already one of my favorite looking units in the game, but the elite version is just even more Keshik per Keshik. It goes from 1 horse plume on its head to 5. Clearly, this is where the 900 gold on that elite upgrade is going, right there on those horse plumes. But yeah, just a super cool looking unit, and the elite one even fancier than the Castle Age one. Oh, I also forgot to put them here, but flaming camels are exactly the same. Beyond that, that is going to just be the Tatars and all of their new units. Or rather, their lack of new stuff. Just the monks and the Keshik. Of course, we have the fan favorite here, Teutons, and they will be getting that Central European castle as I predicted. But other than that, there really isn't a whole lot that is new here for these guys. You have the classic monastery, the classic monks, and the Teutonic Knight that, as awesome as it is with its winged helmet, fur-trimmed cloak, white cross on the back of its cape, it is still something that you guys have seen before. Of course, because why wouldn't you use this in promotional artwork? But yeah, these guys look awesome, ready to slowly walk at their opponents and cut them down. I imagine we'll be seeing lots of people play Teutonic Knights for the sole reason that this unit looks awesome. But yeah, other than that, there really aren't any changes at all to the Teutons, one of the least changed civs with all of the new graphics. Now we turn to the Turks, who will be getting their own unique castle, and it is very distinct with its octagonal open roof pattern going on with it, but you also have the Turkish crescent and star displayed at several points on this castle, so certainly very Turkish looking as far as that goes. When it comes to the Janissaries, here is the classic Janissary, that's the Castle Age version, the elite Janissary with their proper Janissary hat that looks amazing, as well as bigger looking armor, I guess, in the process. This is the Royal Janissary from the editor. This is not actually used in-game, but has always just kind of like been around there in the files. So you can see here that the elite Janissary that they went for is not the one that already existed in the game files like they did with the Centurion. This one is a completely new and unique design, and I am a very big fan of it. It looks like a proper Janissary, as you would expect. But beyond that, Turks, of course, were primarily Islamic, various Islamic empires, so they are going to be getting the imams, Middle Eastern castle, monasteries rather. They get their own castles. And that is going to be the Turks right here. Getting towards the end now, we have the Vietnamese, whose castle I think was in the promotional image, but it has very noticeable round windows here at like the top and at the fronts and on the sides. It also has the green shingles on the roof. So that certainly looks very cool with these very large bricks here as well at the base. You also have the skirmisher shields at various points on the building as well, with the javelin right there, so even more Vietnamese-y as far as that goes. I will say the rattan archer is one of the least distinct elite upgrades. You can see like the lower half is different and a bit better armored, but beyond that, the units look very similar. A little bit gold trimming around the neck area. But yeah, I still think it's a little hard to tell the regular and elite rattan archers apart. Naturally, they're going to be getting the Buddhist-style monks in the East Asian monastery, and the Imperial skirmishers are looking the same as ever. So those are going to be the changes there for the Vietnamese. Our last classic civ will be the Vikings, whose castle was shown in the promotional imagery, and a lot of people guessed it would be the Vikings based off of this wooden part right here, which is reminiscent of the Viking Wonder. You also have the awesome horned helmets of perfect historical accuracy right here above this entrance, as well as the Berserk shields here and here, as well as the Berserk axe for maximum Vikingness. Monks and monastery are still the same as they have always been, and you have the Berserk here, Castle Age version, and the Elite version, which is even more gigantic with a big old fur, I guess, pelt over the cloak, cape thingy, even more horned helmet action. I mean, this is absolutely a gigantic Norse warrior that's going to barrel down on you. Gotta love this Elite Berserk design for sure. Then we have the longboats, which again are not very distinct between regular and elite. As far as I can tell, the only differences are the shields, which go from all being sort of looking like skirmisher shields in feudal age to more or less unique shields across the side, and then the dragon ship has a tail at the end versus not having a tail. And yeah, that's the only difference there between the castle and imperial age longboats. And there we go, those are the changes of the Vikings. Our second of the three kingdoms will be Wei. This is the northern kingdom and the kingdom of Cao Cao. So you can see here the tiger cavalry, which I showed off yesterday. This is the Castle Age version, and this is the Imperial Age version. You can tell because the Imperial Age one has the gold trim on it. Always a good way to guess which is the fancier unit. Also, the horse has armor at the back as well as the front. Other way to make that a bit more distinct. You have the Shanbei Warrior, which does not have an Imperial Age version, so it's just going to be the one version of the unit. Like the other three kingdoms, we have the Buddhist monks and the East Asian monastery, Heguang Cavalry, Traction Trebuchet regional units, and then you have the Cao Cao hero unit. And as far as the castle itself, I'm certainly a fan of it. You have the big stairs at the front, you have the bridges on the sides that are certainly similar to like a Chinese garden, and the very distinct black shingled roofs. So that is going to be the Wei civilization. And now, finally, last but not least, we have our new final civ alphabetically, the Wu, and they will have a castle that was shown in the promotional image, and it's a very compact-looking castle. It feels like this is the smallest castle in the game, but I guess in that way, it's memorable as far as it goes. You have the Fire Archer unique unit, which I guess the Elite version has this feather sticking out of it. The bow is definitely fancier on the Elite version, has longer pants as well. You have Liu Bei, your hero unit. You have the Buddhist-style monks in the East Asian monastery, of course, and then the regional units. I guess I never showed the Heguang Cavalry here, but yeah, you have those still as well. You have the Traction Trebuchet too, and then you have your Jian Swordsman unique unit, but they do not have an elite version, so it's just this guy here as the only unit model. And phew, that is it, guys. I know this is a very long video, but there are so many new unit models and building models to cover. Definitely let me know in the comments which one was your favorite for anything, the units, the buildings. What did you enjoy? I hope you enjoyed the video, I guess, as it did take a long time to make. Be sure, of course, to subscribe to the channel for plenty more content on the upcoming patch and expansion in the near future. And before I go, just a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters who really help make this sort of thing possible for me, these more long-form videos. We'll have Dan and Jared in the Great Wolf tier, and then Carolyn, Dieter, Liquid Egg Product, Hryru, and Tandoori Knight in the Dire Wolf tier. But thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.